On Wednesday, the African Center for Democracy and Human Rights Studies officially launched two significant reports. Security First, the impact of security laws on civic space in West Africa, and mapping civil society engagement in Africa-led peace operations. The event, organized by Spaces for Change in collaboration with ACDHRS, focuses on regulatory compliance for civil society organizations operating in the Gambia and Sierra Leone. Comprehensive reports examines counter-terrorism operations in West Africa, analyzing the region's legal frameworks, their implementation processes, and the impact of these security laws on civic space. The reports delve into the localized peace operations and the role of CSOs in counter-terrorism efforts. Spanning 8 chapters and over 100 pages, they provide detailed insights in these critical issues affecting the region. Victoria Ebezim Ohere, Executive Director of Spaces for Change, discussed the central theme of the reports, explaining why Security First was chosen as the title. She emphasized that many countries in the region have prioritized security over human rights, leading to significant challenges. Ohere highlighted that the reports explores the evolution of security norms in West Africa and examines the triggers behind the enactment of various security laws across the continent.
Simply saying countries are now putting security first above every other thing, including human rights. And there is a problem with that. And what is the problem with that? That is what the report is trying to look at. But context matters. We started by looking at the context of West Africa. How did these norms evolve? What is the genealogy of these laws? What were the triggers and drivers of the several security laws that have been enacted in Africa? And then we went down with incidents and examples about how these laws have been applied across West Africa, looking at some of the specific consequences on human rights and the civic space, on the ability of civil society organizations to operate freely and in West Africa.
She also pointed to the intersection of national security and public health, citing the COVID-19 pandemic as an example. Ohere noted how issues such as free expression, journalistic responsibility, and press freedom were framed as national security concerns, an issue that the report urges should not be the case.
Some of the definitions are so broad that everything can come under national security, even things that are not related to security. So it gives law enforcement a very wide latitude, a lot of discretion to bring in anything that is unrelated to security. So we saw in the report how disease can become a security issue, how, especially within the context of COVID-19, can become a security. We saw how free expression, journalistic responsibilities, free speech, press freedom, even insulting political office holders, everything is framed as a national security issue, and there should not be national security issues. So what we are also seeing is polarization of the counterterrorism agenda. Everybody is now fighting terrorism. Every conflict, even conflicts that predate 9/11, are now being treated with measures proposed for countering terrorism, as well at the domestic level. So it's resulting in securitization, it's resulting in a lot of militarization of our continent. We are also worried about technology, the role technology is playing. We're also worried, raised concerns about regulation of civil society, how security has become an excuse for extreme scrutiny, monitoring, and strangulation of spaces where civil society people operate. So these are the kind of issues that the report is raising.
Honorable Dr. Lita Musimi Ogana, Commissioner at the African Commission on Human and People's Rights, also spoke at the event, highlighting the importance of regulatory compliance for CSOs. She emphasized that understanding the work of African commissioners is crucial for CSOs to collaborate effectively with regional bodies.
I think the issue of training civil society on compliance is important because that also involves understanding how the African Commission for Human and People's Rights works. So when you understand that context, then it's easy for institutions to be able to work with us. We work with a lot of civil society. We have over 500 registered civil society with the Commission. And so the more they understand the issue of compliance, the easier it is for us to work with them. Because we come from a bureaucratic framework as well, the African Union. And so the better civil society understand how we work, the better it is for us to overlap.
Dr. Ogana discussed the challenges faced by human rights groups globally, noting that human rights abuses are not unique to Africa. She pointed out that political tensions, particularly during elections, often lead to human rights violations, which remain a significant concern.
Human rights is a challenge all over the world, not just Africa. In the case of Africa, I think we do have challenges around political discourse. If you've been following, every time we have elections, we have between the winner and the loser, we have a tug of war. In the process, human rights are abused for either party, and so that is a matter of concern. We also have human rights related to many issues. Even if you look at land exploitation of land and natural resources, people are displaced through extractive industries. Many times human rights of those people have been violated and they come to us. Now looking at the field of tourism, tourism is starting now to become another area of conflict between people, animals, and in the process sometimes human rights of the people neighboring parks and national tourism areas are also being violated. So on a daily basis, it is from one form of human rights to another.
Hannah Foster, Executive Director of the African Center for Democracy and Human Rights Studies, outlined the center's key areas of focus, which are governance, equality, the right to development, and conflict management.
And our main areas of focus is governance, gender equality, the right to development, and conflict management. Yes, as you rightly pointed out, the main thrust of the discussion was on security and human rights. And as you can see, it's well within our mandate. And for that reason, we were able to collaborate with Space for Change in looking at security in West Africa.
She explained that in their work with CSOs, it is essential to understand the security and human rights landscape within the sub-region. Foster stressed that with the shrinking of civic space in many countries, conducting research is vital for identifying gaps and making effective interventions that can drive change.
The reason why security in West Africa is crucial is that in our work with civil society, it is imperative that we are able to know what obtains in the sub-region when it comes to security and human rights. Especially when we talk about civic space. We know that in the last few years, civic space has been shrinking, as they call it, and in other countries, civic space has been closed, so to speak. So for us to be able to make interventions, meaningful interventions, we need to carry out research that will give us the situation as is on the ground and to identify the gaps so that we are able to effectively make that, those recommendations that will help us make the change.
Reports provide a thorough examination of how security laws in West Africa impact both government and civil society engagement, offering vital recommendations for improving human rights protection and civic space in the region. For Voice Out Digital, I am Yamamawale.